Evening, y'all. Well, I guess I got a little bit of work done today here at the house, and I'm feeling good. I figured I'd give a shout out to all you all. Tell you another story, because some folks like my stories. The only difference with this story is it's a true one. Come on, Sam. Look, here's Sam. This is my Samson, my little trash panda. And there's Jack. The Jackson. Alright, anyway. Long story short. Talk about good people. I'm gonna tell a story about my Poppop. A story about this knife. It's always a story that has intrigued me. And I love a good knife. I don't know if you can see it, but it says there it's an original Bowie. And on the one side, I doubt you're probably going to be able to see it, but it is actual German Solingen steel. And if I'm not mistaken, Solingen steel came from when the Americas built that plant after World War II. So it's not an actual original Mountain Man knife, but the steel is good. It's good carbon. So let's talk about this story. Well, my grandfather, he's born about early 1920s. His pappy and his ma were Italian immigrants. And God bless them. My great-grandfather couldn't hardly speak a word of English. And believe it or not, he actually liked Mussolini. He liked him. Long story short, my grandfather was one of, I think, 12 or 13. I can't remember exactly. There's quite a few of them in that bunch. But he grew up by the railroad tracks of Washington, D.C. back when it rolled through there. And he experienced the gangs of the Jews and the Germans and the Italians and the Irish. He experienced it firsthand. Racial slurs were just common talk amongst them. They'd laugh about it. There was no sensitivity training in those days. So my grandfather grew up, and he made his way, and he developed 2 market centers, the way I understand it. And they were called the market centers. And they sold beer and wine, they sold different groceries, but they also had a good deli, and people get to go up there and get sandwiches and everything else like that. Well, one evening, a young man, a black man, came in with this knife. Now we're talking D.C. back in the days. Baltimore didn't have shit on D.C. back in the day. Now it has changed some in these times, but my grandfather asked the man, he said, "What you going with that knife for?" And the young man said, "Well, I got to go handle some things. Some people have been talking some spit. I got to go ahead and let them know what's up." Now, my grandfather said distinctly that the man was intoxicated. He could barely talk to him. So he knew that whether there was a gun there or not, this old boy was taking a knife to a gunfight. So my grandfather, some people may not call this wisdom, but I do. My grandfather said, "I'll trade you a bottle of wine for that knife." And the man hemmed and hawed about it, and he said, "Now I got things to do." And my grandfather says, "I'll tell you what, you can pick any bottle of wine out of that case, and I'll give you that bottle for the knife." The man said, "Any bottle." My grandfather said, "You know, when I say it, it's the truth." So that man picked a bottle of wine out and left the knife on the counter. Now, to a lot of you sheeple and a lot of you soft people, I don't think you understand the gravity of that transaction. My grandfather was better than most men, 10 times better than I will ever be. But he saved a life that night. Anybody that's ever experienced any kind of slum or ghetto will understand exactly what I'm saying. But thankfully, I haven't inherited this knife. And maybe it's just a reminder to be bigger than the people that you are around. Think broader than the shit that gets brought to you every day.